Welcome to the Luna Holistic Podcast. I'm your host, Geneva Robbins, and every month on this podcast, we'll talk about Reiki, as well as answering your questions on all things spiritual. We are gratefully located in Calgary in Treaty 7 territory. Thank you all and welcome to the show. Hello and welcome to the Luna Holistic Podcast. My name's Geneva Robbins, and today I have Angela Hogeveen with me. Say hi, Angela.
Hi, everyone.
Nice to have you here. Today we're going to tackle a fairly meaty issue, one that has been on the top of mind since the beginning of January 2025 and affects us personally here as Canadians. We're dealing with a fair amount of turmoil in the political landscape, and it's affecting us energetic folks quite a bit. And so the title of this episode is It's Not You, It's the Energy, which is all about how sensitive, empathic, very kind-hearted, compassionate people ride through big events in the world when things are happening in a greater sort of public sphere. How does that impact people who feel energy of, one person being off in their living room when you magnify that energy by, a million or a billion times with everyone having a collective reaction to things that they're seeing on the news and all of that energy that can get stirred up. And as our perspectives as Reiki masters and people who have studied how energy flows, how you can regulate your energy with tools like Reiki and meditation and reframing your thoughts. We'll be talking about that, about giving you specific tools to not only come out of maybe what might be a strong fear state or a strong rage state. You might be feeling a lot of righteous anger. You might be feeling a lot of fear, or you might be feeling like you just want to hide away, unplug. You don't want to think about it, talk about it. So it's fight, flight, freeze, fawn, right? We're just in this highly revved space. So we'll be giving you some tools on how to navigate that and not just come out of that highly stressed state, but also anchor your energetic power within your core. And from there, shine your light in the world, because that is what we are here for. We are here to bring the light and be the light, and to shine that courageous, compassionate energy into the world, however we interact with the work that we are doing. Even if it's just being kind to somebody in the grocery store, this is something that we all need a little bit more kindness in the world, or a lot more kindness. And empathic, sensitive folks, you are filled with compassion and empathy. So the world needs you now. This is not the time to hide away or to shrink back or dim your light down. In fact, this is a calling to do the exact opposite of what maybe your survival instincts are telling you to do. But the truth is that we are all stronger in the light, and it is our time to rise and shine. And when you're in that strong light of your energy, then you can create positive action. And you're not creating from a fear base, but you're creating from the strength of your soul and your wisdom inside, and taking whatever action is needed and necessary to keep yourself safe, to take care of others, and to change the world. That's all. That's all we're doing right now. So
That's it. Yeah,
are you on board, Angela?
absolutely. I'm interested in what you have to say because I feel like I have been through all of those stages of the fight, flight, fear, and fawn. So, yes, I'm curious.
Okay.
Help. I
Okay.
need help.
I know. And big tenet of Reiki is all healing is self healing. So most of everything I'm sharing is conclusions that I've come to and things, skills, tools that have been working for me to pop me out of that fear state and back into empowerment instead of having my power drained away by circumstances that feel very beyond my control. I'm pulling back that power so then I can do what is needed and necessary to help people and to help my family and to help others, to help people who are in harm's way and protect people who are people, animals, the environment who are more vulnerable than I am, and to use whatever power and influence I do have to create a positive change in the world, which is part of this podcast. So if you're listening to this and any of this resonates, please share it with other people. Let's get the word out. There's a huge power in all of our collective energy working together, which I will talk a little bit about, which isn't just idle talk. This isn't just wishful thinking. It's actually part of the nature of the fabric of our reality. We will dip our toe into a little bit of quantum physics just to prove to you how important your energy and taking care of your energy is to the energy of the collective. And if that's all you do is you take care of your energy and you anchor in the light for yourself and you shine it out wherever you go, trust that that is enough. And also, once you're in that connected space, you might find that inspirations for positive actions, for helping and supporting other people come just flooding into your mind. And so be curious about that process. There's no right or wrong way to get through this. We're all going to get through it together. There will be times where you will be in the grips of fear and you won't, because you don't know what's going to happen next. There will be times where you are overcome with rage because you cannot handle seeing one more hateful thing, one more harming choice. And that's okay too, because that you have the capacity for those reactions means that you are so capable of feeling. And that is a good thing. Much better that you are being moved by what's happening than being numb to it. Being numb to it or trying to distance yourself or run away from it is actually the worst thing you can do, because when we're numbing, we're not aware. And when we numb, it's usually toxic and self harming in some way. And imagine numbing yourself and then running off blindly in some direction. Are you running away from danger? Are you running towards danger? Are you going to fall off a cliff? Right? You need to be aware, even though it is painful. Those pain signals are also part of our survival mechanism. So, what we want to do is to make sure that the level of our signaling system is matching the level of the actual danger in each moment, not in a future moment. Although we can feel, we can feel maybe what's coming, only so that we can prepare now for what we might need to be prepared for, and not clinging to past moments either, or having our reaction being driven by the past. Both of those aren't great in if you are actually in danger or in harm's way, because then you can't see, you can't feel the energy of the current level of danger or harm, which is what you need to know to get by minute by minute by minute. So we want to be, in some ways, anchored in the present, which might be really the first tool. And with that, let's do a little meditation. Our collective breath of gratitude. So, even just talking about all of this may have gotten your blood pressure up a little bit. You might have recalled moments where you felt those strong feelings. And the first thing is, let's just get yourself into a safe space. See if you can sit for a moment. If you're driving a car, then keep your eyes open, but also just reassure yourself that you are safe, or pull over and just give yourself a little moment of safety. But everyone else, you can gently close your eyes. Hard to do when you're in fight or flight, but just see if you can. Closing your eyes tells your nervous system that you are safe. And then the next thing you can do is just start to breathe nice and slow and gentle through your nose, if you can. You might even want to bring your hands, palms down to your legs or your lap, just feeling that solid support of your legs, the strength of your legs below you. Gently stretching your spine up into a position of dignity. And just take a few big sighs of relief, noticing the energy in your wise and creative heart. See if you can open and expand the space around your heart a little bit more, maybe rolling your shoulders back. Then noticing the energy within the earth, that strong, anchoring energy of gravity, that wisdom within the planet. And just gently allow your energy to balance with the energy of the earth. Notice that ancient, wise, protective energy flowing to you and through you now. And then breathing in the violet light, noticing a very powerful beam of light from an infinite source flowing down to touch the top of your crown, maybe as a pure stream of light, maybe just feeling or noticing the energy at the top of your head, melting in through the central channel that runs through your whole core, all of your chakras, down through your third eye, your brow, through your throat, expanding through your heart, filling your solar plexus, your upper belly, softening through your sacral chakra, your lower belly, right down to your root, base of your spine, flowing down your legs, out through the bottoms of your feet, flowing down your arms, out through the palms of your hands, and then shining radiantly all around you in a brilliant orb of light, filling your aura, clearing and cleansing your energy field. And maybe imagine a rainbow of light around your body, with red near your body, then layering out orange, yellow, green, light blue, indigo, and violet on the furthest edge of your personal space bubble, a beautiful color of purple all around you, the highest vibration you can imagine, the protection of all of the universe and your divine team. surrounding and protecting you now, wherever you go, whatever you're doing, it stays with you. Let's take a big sigh of relief into this safe space that you've created all around you. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Ah,
Ah,
there we go. That was a bit
nice.
longer of a meditation, but how did that go for you, Angela?
As always, it was lovely. What I really liked and what I focused on was the feeling and the affirmation I am safe.
Hmm.
Because with everything going on in the world, it can feel very unsafe, which
Mhm.
then, of course, that leads to just a downward spiral of anxiety and fear and everything negative. But yeah, that affirmation reminder that at this moment, right now, I am safe.
Exactly. Exactly. That's something that is so important, especially when things feel so uncertain. We're living in times of change on multiple levels and frequencies, and change is often perceived as scary. Even positive changes can seem scary. So anything that is perceived as a negative change is like double scary because then you've got the fear that comes naturally with any change, plus the fear that comes with, feeling like it's a negative change. And we get it double. So giving ourselves that space to affirm safety, even if all you know is right now in this minute, when you're listening to this, when you are in a safe and quiet space, that is your safety. That in that second, nobody is attacking you, nobody is yelling at you, you're not in imminent danger, you have shelter, you have food, you have water, you have all the means for survival, you're safe. And then take that moment, even if it's just a tiny little sliver of time where you can access that and use it to completely recharge as much as possible. And then that gives you the strength to keep going through, even if everything does go haywire in the world, because we just don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. And there's lots of people guessing of what's going to happen. And that doesn't necessarily protect our nervous systems or prepare us either. It's fine to have wise preparations, but not preparing out of fear or panic. About 5 years ago, and we all went through a worldwide panic with the pandemic. And remember all the toilet rolls of toilet paper that was bought, right? Why do we need so much toilet paper? Nobody knows. It was a panic reaction of scarcity, of feeling like, I don't know what. And then we all just sort of surged along and bought all the toilet paper because we were trying to protect ourselves. We can laugh about it now, but in the moment, it seemed very valid and real. Everybody else was doing this, so I should do it too. And even if it doesn't make logical sense or isn't even all that protective, because now the price of toilet paper has gone up, not been at a reasonable level, that sort of reaction is a very normal reaction when we get into states of panic. We'll go along with the dominant energy rather than taking those moments to ground, regroup, think about, okay, what resources do I have? What resources do I need? Do I need to prepare anything? Are there places where I can start making changes to protect what I've already got or protect my people? What is the action that's required right now? What are potential future actions? What might I need then? That's much more of like planning and preparation, and isn't driven by anxiety, but is driven by your wisdom and your logic. And those are totally fine. It's totally fine to think about the future if you are doing what you need to now for a future moment, and also staying out of disaster planning. It's okay to do a bit of disaster planning just because that's part of emergency preparedness, but you don't need to do any more than your emergency management operations center recommends, which is like your 72-hour emergency kit. If you don't know first aid, learn some first aid, right? Like these are just general basic preparedness for any situation. Let's not go overboard. you know, and mainly it's because that panic energy pulls you out of actually doing what you need to do in the moment to be the most effective that you can be. If disaster should fall, then we'll deal with it then. And we won't be in worry, we'll be in crisis management mode. And trust that you are strong, you are capable, you can figure it out as you go, right? We have those skill sets, or we know people who do. And so that being said, that's sort of the pragmatic, like, what if the worst should happen? Okay, we've got the worst covered, which is sometimes it's like in Stoicism, there is that sort of like prepare for the worst, but plan for the best. And so sometimes when you directly face the fear head on, okay, what if this is going to happen? What if this is going to happen? Then what would I do? So our primal responses are being triggered. Anxiety, stress, rage, fear, all of those things are getting pressed on because anytime there's news that is shocking, deliberately shocking, provoking comments, threats, it's all of this like huge abusive energy that's being thrown at us, particularly in Canada. We are feeling bullied because we're being bullied. That's why we feel that way. And many other people and many other groups throughout North America are feeling that way too. My heart goes out to so many people south of the border who have lost their jobs because of ridiculous, horrible reasons, and people who are doing everything they can to create positive change. Absolutely. This isn't us against them. This isn't about nationalism. This is about compassionate people trying to help other compassionate people so that we can have more compassion and light in the world, right? I think of it as like we're all one species. And we have very big problems in our world. We need solutions and creativity, not more chaos and drama. Unfortunately, we have some people in world politics who love chaos and drama and love being the abuser. They like playing that role. And so this is the energy, this is the soup that we're in. So even if it's not affecting us personally, for sensitive folk, we are feeling this collective wave of energy. We're sensitive, we feel things very keenly, and that's our superpower. And when you have 8+ billion people all having a reaction to the news, outrage, fear, worry, concern, disgust, disbelief, shock, it sends out a pulse of energy day after day after day after day. Unless something drastic happens, it's likely to continue for some time. This is where we're at. We're in it. So how do you get by when you're a sensitive soul and you're riding through these waves or pulses? We're having our own personal reaction And then we're also in this energy soup that might be very similar to our own personal reaction. And for me, the first thing is to recognize the game that's being played. And that was a big thing of like that shatters the illusion of like, this is bullying. Okay. So it's like, it's bullying, it's abusive. And there's this deliberate feeling of like we're being toyed with, like we're being pushed and pulled so that strongly empathic, compassionate people go offline, right? How do we keep all of these people who have wisdom, courage, conviction, empathy, skills silent? We poke on the trauma. And I had heard that from somebody in the public sphere that they were going to put them in their trauma or flood the zone. These are some of the phrases that are being hurled about, which is quite gross. It's a very gross energy. And part of it is spotting the game. And it's like, and so how do you flip it? How it gets flipped is the truth of bullying is that the core of a bully is actually weakness. Their illusion is that they are more powerful than you. And they do all kinds of things to grab power. And they may sometimes get it, which seems to be the case. They seem to have somehow power has been amassed in a few bullying kinds of people's hands. But the illusion is that they are powerful when all they've done is grab it. But the power, the true source of power, is us, within our attention, with our energy, our money, our resources of strength, compassion, and empathy, and our connection to something greater, our purpose, our will, our collective connections, being able to empathize with others, to reach out to people who don't look like us, who maybe don't speak our language, who maybe don't practice or pray in the same way that we do. We can empathize with all kinds of people, and that is our superpower because we don't work in isolation. The illusion is to keep us isolated, that we're small, we're tiny. It's just me. I'm the only one here. Nobody else feels the way I do. All I see is chaos and drama, and I don't want to have anything to do with it. And maybe it's even triggering your own wounds and wounded state because you've experienced bullying, narcissism, harshness, that gross, controlling, manipulative grab for your power and light. And so now seeing it in the collective is re-traumatizing for many people. I see that a lot with a lot of people. And that's okay that that's happening. If that's happening, that's part of it. But if you can crack the illusion that you're powerless, that you can't do anything, that it's all beyond your control, and stop playing the game. It's like they're trying to traumatize you. Don't let them, right? How do you not let somebody hurt you in that way? The biggest thing for me, this is the big reframe, the flip that I made, which is the reaction I'm having is part of my strength. The fear, the worry, the concern, the rage, the righteous rage, the disgust, all of those reactions are happening because I have this highly honed capacity to feel. And not just feel for myself, but feel for others. So when I hear of other people going through states of suffering, I get riled up by that, like nobody's business, like fiery inferno. I also feel fear of what's going to happen to my family, what's going to happen to my country, what's going to happen to the world, what's happening with climate change while we're just dealing with this nonsense. Like all of those things provoke a reaction. So I see that as part of my strength, not as part of my weakness, even if at the moment I might feel weak. And then I imagine an equal amount of courage of whatever that energy is, that there's a strength inside of me. Instead of trying to push it down or push it away, we'll go, this feeling is happening because I care. I care. And that is my strength. And so I allow that caring energy, this compassion to rise up inside of me, equal compassion and courage rising up, equal to the worry, to the fear, to the anxiety. And then I connect with power greater than me, source. I go outside, I get in nature, I ground, I do Reiki and meditation like we did just in the beginning opening. And I connect to an energy, a source of light, which is unmovable, unshakable, which is pure compassion, pure love, that doesn't see the other, that doesn't judge or label, that understands even compassion for the bully. Oh my goodness, what are they doing to their souls right now? Not good. That's going to cause some trouble for them. And it's coming from such a deep well of pain. They don't know it. They might not know it. They might not get justice in this life, but there is justice and there is a balancing, and there's a lot of lessons for them to be learned. Oof, wouldn't want to be them. Nope.
No, not at all. And if I can add,
I get a steam going.
Yeah, no, I could see it coming out of your head, the steam. No, that was awesome. But if I can add to everyone listening, and even myself as well, I am not there. I do not have compassion yet for, certain people because I am maybe just too in my fear, my rage, my this is just so unfair. But that's okay because one thing that I am trying to do to combat my fear is the affirmation, the future hasn't happened yet. In my head, I've created this narrative of worst case scenario, which I think we all do that because our fear monster can be loud and that energy is very sticky and we can get stuck in there. But if I remind myself, no, that hasn't actually happened yet. We don't know what's going to happen. And if I can add something else, I don't remember where I heard it, but I heard someone say it's not one person doing 1,000 good deeds. It's 1,000 people doing one good deed each. So if it feels overwhelming to help everyone and to, be the light for everyone, that feels like a lot of pressure. And then that pressure can just stop you from doing anything. So it's just one tiny little thing. Last week, I was in a coffee shop and the barista, she was taking my order and she had this big, beautiful smile and she was so friendly. And, I asked her how her day was and she said, I don't know what's going on, but everyone is so nice today, which then in turn made her happy and this big, beautiful smile. And I was already in a good mood, but if I wasn't, I think that her energy would have lifted me. And then if I was lifted, I then went out and met a girlfriend for brunch, then I could have, lifted other people. So again, it's just tiny, tiny little things that can ultimately change the world.
Yeah. I totally agree. And when I say like we have shine our light and change the world, it is those thousands of tiny little interactions. Most of the people I work with who are so compassionate and kind and courageous and highly empathic they don't even know the amount of good that they're just dripping into the world just by being present. Just by being here, just by being yourself, just by reframing things into the positive and showing yourself the first step of like a loving kindness meditation is to have loving kindness for yourself, right? So that's the very first step, is show yourself some kindness and compassion. And so for me, part of it is like recognize that if you are feeling like you're just constantly on edge and you think it's not you, it's the energy. Just sort of ponder, is like some of it might be you because you're having a reaction to your own stuff, you're living your life, you've got all the stuff that's going on, and there's this energetic soup you're in. So we're often matching our environment rather than staying in our own energetic space. And so if the environment energy is high and hot, then we start matching that energy field rather than matching our knowing how we are in it. And so just sometimes even just noticing is like how much of this is mine and how much of this is collective energy, and whatever isn't, you're not directly experiencing in this moment, you can let it drop into the earth or let it go to a higher power, and then give yourself these moments of compassion and empathy. Nurture, make sure, I always think like the first thing is like check off all of your physical needs for comfort. So make sure you're well hydrated. Have you eaten? How is your sleep? If you're tired, have a nap. Give yourself permission to nurture yourself with healthy foods, with exercise, weighted blankets, wear the coziest clothes, all of those things. Do what you need to bring comfort, physical comfort to the body, and then start working with comforting your mind and your emotions and your energy field. So meditation, fantastic. We've got so many meditations on the website. If you find it's very difficult to ground, then come in for a Reiki session. You can get help with that. We have a few self-healing meditations on the website, which basically help guide you through a self-Reiki session. Even if you haven't been attuned to Reiki or you don't know what that is, just give it a try and see if that just helps settle you and calm you. It's a lot like what we practiced at the beginning. It just helps you, give you a breath so you can reground and regroup. And then I also like to turn to word mentors. So book mentors, or, I will read inspirational things. I will pick up books that I find are nourishing and soothing, and that inspirational energy is, there's so many people who have written so many amazing things that helps you feel like you're not alone. Because the danger is, and when we're bullied, the bullies and abusers isolate their victims and make them feel like nobody's going to help you and you're powerless. You can't fight back against me because I have all the power. But the illusion is that they've pulled power from you. They're using your own power against you. In Reiki, I encounter all kinds of energies. And when it comes to like the energetic form of it, I'm not afraid of it at all. I'm kind of a spiritual badass. I bounce out all kinds of creepy crawlies, I like to call them, but it's always illusion. As soon as you detach that energy from the person, it shrinks. It's weak and pathetic. And then you just show it kindness. Don't squish this small thing. And so it's, how am I feeding energy into the system? Well, if this bullying energy lives on fear and chaos and drama, I'm going to do my very best to not feel fear, chaos, or drama. I'm not going to let myself get hooked. I think it's from Buddhism, is like, don't bite the poisoned hook, right? Like you're being hooked, and recognize it as a hook. And then you just simply don't bite it. It's like you see it as the game that's being played. And then you pull your energy back into you. So any bits of your energy that might be scattered or lost in the far future, in the fear, wrapped up in the energy, imagine you can pull all of your energy back to you. Instead of your light being diffuse and spaced out and sparse, you have every bit of energy that is yours is now concentrated in the core of your being. And it's anchored and rooted through your whole column and pillar of light and grounded into the earth. And so it's a little bit of, the reaction is not to get angry, but to get fierce. Fierce is a form of love, like a mama bear, right? Is like we have to kind of mama bear ourselves. like, no, we are strong. No, we do have power. It's like it might not be a power to change governments with an email, right? Like, but we can email our representatives, right? That is our power. We can do that. We can take charge of our mind and our focus and pull our energy back into ourselves and then reframe. So for me, the reframe is I stopped seeing myself as a pawn in somebody else's game and started seeing myself as a queen, you know, and not even like the queen on the chessboard, but the player. I'm the player. And then even recognizing the chessboard as a game maybe I don't choose to play. So I get up and I walk away, and I don't see it as an adversarial thing at all. If I retract my power from the bullying dynamic, then they have none. They have none, and I have all of my power back. And I might still have to deal with the consequences of their behavior. I was still might, but I'm going to deal with it with all of my energy intact. And that's kind of what I wish for everybody, is to be in that strongly empowered state. It's like, no, it's not right. It's not right what's happening. It's not fair. And we have power here. And it's collective power. Again, in the case of Canada, is like, I looked it up. It may not be a current figure, but the Canadian economy is $2 trillion a year. $2 trillion. That's like, I had no idea it was that much. There's only 30, 40 million people here. That's huge. That's huge, huge. And so in little tiny actions, like I'm not buying Cheerios because they're made in a different country than Canada. So we're not buying them. We're making different choices. The power of nonviolent resistance is based in this idea of compassion. And when you look throughout history of social change, of women getting the vote, of Black people getting the vote, of slavery being abolished, of the end of British rule in India, all of those things, you look at those, the people who sparked those movements, it comes back to this core of compassion. This is why compassion is so important that we practice for ourselves, for those we love, for neutral people, and for those we perceive to be the enemy. And why? Why would we go with something that feels so weak? It doesn't feel like fighting when somebody's trying to fight with you. But if you anchor compassion in your heart and use that energy as your means of action, all of a sudden, power structures, which are based on power over, they start crumbling. because the people that are, currently at the top, they are only there because they have been given power. They've been given power, so it's just been handed over. And so if we stop handing it over, then it stops. And when we recognize ourselves in the other, then the whole system falls. The whole system crumbles as soon as there's compassion and empathy in the works. Because a bully cannot continue to bully if they have compassion for the person that they're bullying. They can't. It stops. If we, who have so much compassion and empathy, can generate even a molecule of compassion for somebody who has none, that is all the difference. That makes all the difference. That's hard work. We're being called for hard. This is, if you wanted to be enlightened, this is the path, everyone.
Mhm.
The spiritual work does not pull punches here. And why do we need to do it? It was like, because it's urgent. It is. And I feel that compassionate energy not only crumbles power systems that are based in bullying and abuse, because we've seen it throughout history. It creates change when there should not ever be change, right? It's like, how do you get power out of the hands of the oppressor? It's like, you make them understand that we're just like you. You're just like them. We're all human. We all have a heart. We all sit down on the toilet once a day. We all have to breathe air. We are all these frail people in these bodies for a limited time on earth. And what compassionate, empathetic people have in abundance is compassion and empathy. And we need to use those gifts now and to think about, how can I bring more light and compassion into the world? How can I first shine that light and compassion for myself? Stop being at war with yourself. Stop bullying yourself. Stop criticizing. Don't be so hard on yourself. Be kind inside. It makes it much easier to try to imagine being kind to an external authority figure if we are first kind to our inner bully. And as soon as you're kind to it, it disarms it. There's nothing to fight against, because now compassion immediately puts the energy back in your pocket. You've got it now. And if all of the things that we fear happen, how do we want to ride this out? I want to ride it out being in integrity with my own heart, with my beliefs, with my energy. And compassion isn't lazy. It isn't passive. It is active, right? It puts our feet in motion. It puts us past our fears and it helps us to do the thing that's right rather than the thing that's easy. And it helps us create positive change when we'd rather stay hidden and scared. It connects us with other people rather than feeling like we're alone and isolated. It helps us reach out to other people who may have it worse than us. So it's always a good thing, like, scan around. If you think you're having a hard time, scan around. Who has it worse? Can you help them in one tiny, small way? Whether it's time, whether it's money, whether it's a smile, whether it's just a positive thought. Our positive thoughts create ripples as well. We live in a quantum world, and it's well documented. They've done science experiments with random number generators throughout the world. And when people meditate and pray on a common topic at the same time, it creates a shift in the energy that makes the fabric of our reality hum. So this isn't just a passive thing that you think, well, what would it matter that I generate a little bit of compassion inside my heart for a random stranger? It's like, it matters. It makes all of the difference because people feel that. People feel that. And that ripple of compassion is the only thing that reliably creates change in the world. So that's where I go with it. And then I feel free. It pops me out. It's remarkable. It's like as soon as I'm popped out of the fight or flight circuit, then I'm in grounded energy. I'm feeling empowered. I might feel a little bit fierce, of like, heck no, you don't, like, but it's coming from, I try to make sure that I'm not ever coming from anger, but that I'm coming from the core of it, which is love. What do I want here? What I want is everybody to treat everyone else nicely. That's what I want. So then I must do that for myself. And then I do that for the people I know, the people I don't know, and the people that I perceive to be on the other side. I'm going to have compassion and empathy for them too. And when I meet lots of different kinds of people, like Brene Brown says, people are hard to hate up close. They really are. They really are. If you were in the same room as any one of these people, as a kind, compassionate, empathetic person, you'd be able to perceive their suffering. Though maybe small, though maybe masked, it's there. You can absolutely see these wounded children creating more wounds, right? Like damaged brains creating more damaged brains, and so yeah, there we go. That's my rant. What do you think about that, Angela?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, that was a lot. It was good. I almost feel like I need a cigarette. I don't even smoke, but it was like, whoa, that was, going back to the fear energy and that just knowing that it is the collective, that it isn't me, immediately that takes the pressure off because, yes, as you say, we should be kind to ourselves. But I think for so many of us, we immediately go into, oh, I'm feeling crappy again. What did I do? What did I not do? Like, I take on the responsibility myself. And then that just, again, is a downward spiral. But just like, okay, this, as you say, it's not me, it's the energy. So that just takes me, again, as you say, out of the illusion a little bit. And then I feel more empowered to like, okay, this isn't a me thing. This is, yeah, a collective thing. So then I do feel like I have more energy to do all of the things to get myself into that better headspace. And also in regards to the compassion and showing love, I think what you said, just recognizing that all of us are these little children running around with our traumas. And so if we can see someone like that, I think automatically there might be, yes, a little bit of compassion, but also if we are just nice to people and loving, like you get what you put out, then, so many times. And I'm not talking about someone who is radicalized and they're spewing hate and you have to be kind to them. I'm just talking everyday occurrences, like that girl at the coffee shop. She was so lovely. And then that lifted me up. And you get what you put out. And it can be very instantaneous. So if you smile at someone, they'll smile back at you.
Yeah.
And what else did I want to say? Oh, so one thing that has helped me tilt my frame on how I do things is that saying, when everything feels like it's falling apart, things may actually be falling together. So while it might be hard to have full belief in that because everything right now is absolutely, or it feels like it's absolutely falling apart, and it doesn't feel like anything's falling together. But it's times like this, either personally or collectively as the world, um, is when shifts happen. Shifts don't happen when everything is rainbow and sunshine. It's
Mhm.
when things get dirty. That's when
Mhm.
people then are motivated to change. Maybe even not motivated, are forced to change. It's
Yeah.
like a rock bottom. To
Yeah.
me, this kind of feels like we are at rock bottom,
Yeah.
which in a sense is actually a good thing
Yeah.
because I think people are changing. People are protesting, not with
Mhm.
violence, not with hate,
Mhm.
but with love
Yeah.
and coming together. Like how Canada, amazingly, we have come together in such a short period of time, like we have never come together before.
Yeah.
Everyone is so Canada proud. Like I've seen so many videos at, sporting events or what have you, people
Mhm.
singing "Oh Canada," but like full chested, oh, like with such pride, "Oh Canada." Like it honestly, it's moving and it's beautiful. This happened because of a very negative thing, but this is a positive. And I don't think it's going to change, even if, you know,
Mhm.
south of the border things change or someone new comes into power. I think Canada has, um, just solidified our love of
Yeah.
Canada and our patriotism and all
Even
of that.
things like even things like shopping local, which is stuff that we need to do for so many reasons. One, to support our own economy, two, for climate change. The shorter a distance that things travel, the better it is for the planet, right? So those kinds of things, like recognizing your purchase power, right?
Mhm,
Like and the power of your attention, right? Like clicks and
mhm.
views and what your eyeballs are looking at is a commodity. So don't look at it,
Yeah.
and it dries up without your gaze, right? So just look at the things that you want to look at. Put your time and energy and your dollars towards the things that are progressing things, and pull your energy, your attention, your power, your money away from the things that are crumbling, right? And
Mhm,
that's basically it. And I think on top of that is like we think of compassion as being always being soft. And it isn't at all.
mhm.
Compassion is only true compassion when it's equal for everyone. So if we're putting ourselves down to raise up another, that is not compassionate. If we're withstanding hatred and abuse or witnessing other people being the recipient of hatred and abuse and doing nothing, that is not compassionate. Sometimes compassion is fierce. Even if you had to shout at somebody, even if you had to physically defend yourself, even if you had to, I think of like UN peacekeeping troops, right? Like they're showing up with what looks like on the outside aggression, but the energy is peace, right? So then that's the energy that they're trying to cultivate. It makes a world of difference. So you can shout at people with compassion. You can you can be physically
Mm,
aggressive and defensive of your position, and it can still be compassionate, right? So it's like protecting the vulnerable is sometimes you have to get really in people's faces to protect yourself or to protect other people. They won't get subtle. They just won't. But it's
mm,
always checking back to make sure that anger isn't creeping up, that you're not reacting out of anger or fear. It's very tricky because you want to make sure that it's like what I want is for everyone to have an equal amount of this compassionate, empathetic feeling. I want to have that for everyone, every single person. And so then it keeps you out of slipping from being bullied into the bullier, right?
Mm.
Uh, or bystander. We get out of the victim perpetrator cycle. We're not a victim here. Stop being a victim.
Mm.
But we also don't want to slide the other way and become a perpetrator. That's not a good thing for us either. We want to be in the middle with it. And we kind of want to be out of the loop entirely.
Mm.
Compassion and thinking about loving kindness takes us out of that toxic dynamic completely. And we can observe it without partaking. We might have to be in that environment, but we can come at it from a completely different energy, which is an energy of love and an energy of peace and
Mm.
compassionate love and peace. And then what are we going to get? More compassion and peace. So anything we
Mhm.
do, we want to make sure that we're taking action from the energy we want to persist in the world. So why is it so important to have self-compassion? Because then the actions you take for yourself are going to create more compassion in the world just automatically. So you taking care of you being kind to yourself creates a ripple of good that everybody benefits from. And that's what we want. And
Mhm.
then when each person is lit up and in that power and light, then you just have to go about your day and it creates change.
Mhm.
And then if you have on top of that an additional inspiration or an idea, then you're less fearful. You're more likely to make that thing, to speak up, to, raise your hand in a meeting. You're more likely to be extra kind and patient with your children. You're more likely to smile at the barista and and have them smile back and have a nice pleasant exchange that brightens how many people's days, right? And that makes a difference. It absolutely does. And that is honestly the thing that is, we don't fight with fighting, we fight with compassion. Compassion is the enemy in this game. And you can see it in the actions that are being taken, and some of the comments, right? Like it's kind of baffling of some of the things that are being said. But again, spotting it, don't play the game, come back to your core. If you have a strong feeling, it means you're capable of feeling. Be proud of that. Be proud of your anxiety. Be proud of your feelings that are being generated because you have the capacity to feel. And then imagine equal supportive, nurturing energy, a courage, a strength, a light inside you that is connected with the light in the universe. And then allow that light to flow through your whole body, shine through your aura. And then from that connected space, go, what is my next task? What is next? It might be go have a nap, go have a bath, you know, get
Mhm.
a, call this person, reach out to a friend, write something down, share something with another person. It might be really, really simple. It could be as simple as sharing this podcast with somebody who is really freaked out right now.
Mhm.
That could help a lot of people. You don't know how far this energy can go, but I believe that it is the most powerful tool, and in particular, to make sure we're making connections with other people. Imagine you're reaching out to other people who are also compassionate lights in the world, lift them up, and feel like, oh, we have strength in numbers. They only know number one, maybe three, right? That's not very many. That's not very many numbers. One troublemaker can make a lot of trouble, but 8 billion people moving every day with a drop more compassion than they had yesterday. That is power, right?
Mhm.
So let's
I
not forget about that.
I think for a lot of people, it's difficult to have that self-compassion. Well, like, especially the people that we deal with, who are on their spiritual journey, sometimes dealing with a lot of trauma. And yeah, it can be very difficult, again, to have that self-compassion. However, I think that, and you've said this before, it's easier to perhaps have self-compassion if you know by doing that, it's going to help someone else.
Mhm.
So it's so much easier to give to others than to give to ourselves.
Mhm.
So if my gift to you and to the collective is my love and light, and I get that love and light through self compassion, then I feel more motivated to do that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you completely. It makes me think of that when we practice the hard work with compassion, which is having compassion for the perceived enemy, then how much easier is it going to be to have compassion for our inner critic,
Mm,
right? It's like that's hard work to have compassion for somebody who is acting without compassion, who's being intentionally cruel and manipulative and abusive. It's difficult to generate compassion for that person. But if you can do it for them, then surely you must be able to generate even a little drop of compassion for yourself.
right. Or even if you can't get to compassion for them, do you know what? Maybe it's just not having those hateful
Yeah.
feelings or anger feelings. Even if it's just slowly moving out of that, that's a huge step.
Yeah.
So, it's all baby steps. But I do think it's very important what you said, that compassion isn't letting someone walk over you
Mhm.
or, be a bully. That's not compassion. It is, well, everything that you described. It's being
Mhm.
that spiritual warrior, but with love. We're warriors, but like, here's my love. You better take it. Like, but I think it's, yeah, it's very important to understand that, yeah, it doesn't mean that having compassion shouldn't allow someone else to walk over you
No.
or to bully you.
No, because you have to be compassionate to yourself, which is you're not putting yourself in harm's way. You're still going to do everything you can to keep yourself safe. You're going to do everything you can to keep anybody who's more vulnerable than you safe. Sometimes even that alone can shock us out of worry in some ways.
Mm.
Is like, yeah, you have a lot of things to think about and a lot of things could happen. Who has less power than you right now? Can you help them? Even if it's just the tiniest little thing you can do, who is having a worse time than you? And then you direct your focus towards them, even if it's just for like an afternoon once a month that you volunteer somewhere where people have had a worse go of it than you have, and not to discount your reaction, but it puts you into a positive, purposeful action and can sometimes bring context to things. And that combined with this energy of compassion, of tying into your heart space and your heart's wisdom and light, that leads you to where is your best service in the world.
It sounds like, we often talk about downward spirals when you get into the fear, but this is an upward spiral. By doing all these things, like you said, you feel better and everything is just, yeah, it's an upward spiral.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you for Angela for joining me to talk about all of this. I hope you liked listening to it. We sure liked recording it. All I seem to be thinking about these days. But thank you, Angela.
Thank you so much.
We'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining us on the Luna Holistic Podcast. We're so grateful that you are here. If you've got a question, we'd love to hear from you. Go to lunaholistic.com/podcast and we'll answer you in an upcoming episode. Be sure to subscribe to our show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And also please rate, because you never know where your little 5 stars will go to shine light into somebody's heart today. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.